Hey everybody, and welcome to Gaming with Vindicator, where we're building the city of Mikelsfjord. And today we're continuing with what we've been doing over the last few episodes, which is destroying and then rebuilding the downtown. Rebuilding it in a much better way than before. The old downtown that I had was a mishmash of very old vanilla assets, and we're still vanilla, don't get me wrong, but we have a lot of new CCPs and DLCs to play with here. I love that we've got these new towers especially, and I think I'm also just a better player. So it's coming together in a fashion that I think is worthy of a real downtown, and I'm really excited because today, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to put in the give or take the tallest 25 towers from the entire game. I went like a crazy person. I put them all in order, and I measured their heights, and I've actually put them in a list. So I've got I'm gonna put in at least probably the 15 tallest here, and then maybe intersperse some on the other side, and maybe even jump onto this side of this collector here. But we're gonna do this in a few phases. So the first thing we're gonna do is definitely make some fixes as always. We're going to jazz up this roadway network, and we're going to, well, I wouldn't say finalize it, but we're going to improve it and put the roads where they belong. We're going to do a little, fixes with the pipes and the junctions. We're going to add some plazas, and then we're going to get right to the towers. We're going to start putting them in a block by block pattern. Then we're going to start doing a few services, the police, fire, and whatnot. And we're going to do some plazas, because we don't want this just to be a concrete jungle. We want this to be interspersed with some places where people can actually go to spend some time. And after we're done this episode, we're going to focus on this part, the waterfront, and we're going to redo the whole thing. It's going to look amazing. I'm actually more excited for that episode, but I think we've got to get the towers in first. We're going to fill in this block. We're going to take out these existing amenities here. But I've workshopped this, and it looks freaking amazing. So get excited. I'm ready to go. And the first thing we're going to do is zoom right in here. Now, I made a mistake. I wanted a different Korean tower. I've put in the wrong one. This is not a tower. This is a beautiful building, no doubt, but it certainly doesn't belong in our downtown tallest towers. So we're gonna just temporarily scoot this over here. That's gonna move almost certainly. But what I do want to do is put in the tower, the Korean from the Korean pack that I wanted to get in here, which you'll see in a minute. We're just gonna have to rebuild the road network a little bit to get the building off the road by one tile, but it actually fits perfectly in this existing space, so we won't have to destroy much of anything at all. That's much better. That's what I intended in the first place. We didn't want that tiny little building. This is not the tallest tower, but it certainly looks amazing for a main drag here. So, what I wanted to do was sort of line this avenue with towers. We're going to continue to do more of that today. What's next? So I want to take a little bit of a bird's eye view here and start messing with the road layout a little bit more. Obviously, it's not complete. We're going to keep a lot of it, but there's some things that are definitely going to change. So here we go. So you might be asking yourself, why did he destroy all those trees? Why take the time to do that? Well, first of all, it's just nice to start with a clean slate, but there's actually a reason for the functionality of the game as well. Each of those trees acts as, I don't know what you call it, it's a prop, I think, and even if you build something over top of it, like a road, you'll see those trees pop up again. So they're actually there, and they're actually putting a load on your CPU, and my computer is not that powerful, so I'm just not taking any chances because I'm about to throw in a lot of new buildings. I don't want my game to crash, so we're gonna just err on the side of caution and delete the things that we don't need. Let's get another collector in here. So that's what I mean. I deleted that segment of road and all those trees popped up. They are still there, folks. So all I've done here is I've made a square 7 long on each side, and then I put the road in the middle. That's in order to get a 45-degree angle. Now, unfortunately, the grid here is not perfect, right? Because I've run this road along what was the the shoreline. So we're just trying to get a square at this intersection, but it won't be perfectly 45 this angle. I did want it to be a little bit 45 so that these roads can actually connect. And what we need to do is we need to use the 2U roads and then upgrade them in order to get that 4-lane. Okay, so now we have a basic road layout, which may be adjusted slightly, but now we can actually go through and change some of these tree or these road types and the trees as well. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that we're thinking about the bike lanes, right? So we want to get these bike lane roads with trees, and this is the one that I like. We've already started this on this side. And we're going to continue that motif throughout the rest of the downtown. So this road comes down here, scoots around, and now it's going upward. This is a great road to continue as a bike road because it does cross this collector here. And we'll just continue this all the way along. And for now, I want to get rid of any trees on the roads that are not bike lanes. So let's do that. Next, we'll continue our generic pines on the collector and the arterial roads, and we'll just go along and put those in now. So how does that look? Yeah, I really like the pine trees. They fit in with our Nordic theme. They're not too big, they're not too tall, but they're proportional to the width of these, and we can run this game. They're proportional to the width of the 4U roads. However, I am rethinking the pines on these smaller 2U roads. That's just a little too bushy, too excessive. So we're gonna go to our old faithful, the young linden, and we're gonna put that on all of these, the smaller bike lane roads. How does that look? I would say that's much more appropriate for the size of the road. That's not dwarfing the sight lines, so I'm happy. Okay, we have a nice mix of trees. What's next? Just a few more roads I want to adjust on this side. And I think what we'll do here is put another north-south bike lane to sort of parallel this one. I don't want to go on this side of the rail trench. It's a little too close. But if we sort of bisect this, and I'm going to move this power line just so we get the grid back. That way we maintain power to our zoo and we give ourselves the grid back, because we might do a few buildings on this side. And like I said, we'll try to bisect this directly down the center. And here I'm not sure we want to just go straight on, but let's see, where I shouldn't have deleted that other road. And what I'm going to do is actually put in one of those towers. Not one of the tallest towers, but you'll see what I'm doing in 1 second. What I want to do is put this mirroring tower right across the way from the other one. But we've got a little problem with our grid, so we're going to have to just rebuild this road for a second. Get our grid fixed up. And now we should be able to sneak that tower in directly across the road. Try to eyeball that so that it's lined up. How did we do? Yeah, our sun is not in the right place. Let's try that. Yeah, that looks pretty well sandwiched. And we're gonna do the same kind of thing on this other side. But I put that there so I can get the road in the right spot. Just a tick off the building. And we'll intersect that road at a bit of an angle, but it's not gonna be an issue. Just so we get a nice, more square grid. And then we'll come here, we'll gauge the middle of this. And come out an angle. I got a little plan for that block. It's all planned out, my friends, all planned out. Okay, let's keep going. So one thing I did want to have is a little bit of a bike or a bus lane on this subway turnaround. I think it would make a lot of sense to use this 3-lane one-way road with bus lane, and we'll upgrade it as a one-way. make sure it's going the right way. And now we have sort of a bus and taxi lane, plus maybe, who knows, is that a parking lane? Well, we'll say it is. Yeah, no parking, but hey, we're trying to be a non-parking friendly city by design. While we're at this, let's check our pipes and make sure they're under the roads. Of course they're not. Would make sense to have one more connection here. I'm almost tempted to, yeah, let's rebuild this road for a second. And that way we get our grid lines fixed up. I don't want any funny stuff happening, especially when I'm building the new residential area on the waterfront here. And let's get one more little connection in here. Great, just one more thing I want to do before we start firing in some towers, and that is make use of some of the glass-roofed metro plazas, which I really love, and I haven't been able to use them anywhere yet, just haven't had the occasion, but let's find those and put them in. And I want to have these kind of on this arterial here, fronting the sort of entrance to downtown, so I wonder if it makes sense to put one in here. Yeah, possibly a little closer. Let's do it. I wonder if I can get it on the other side. Yeah, that's cool. And let's make a use of the small one too. That's I think it's almost identical, but it looks pretty great as well. All right, so I have a general vision. I'm looking at a screenshot of my sandbox here, and I've endlessly played with this. I'm going for a few things. I don't want the grid to be just chock full of towers everywhere. I don't want it to be looking messy, which, you know, it's going to be kind of hard to do. And I want it to also look amazing from the shoreline. And so hopefully I succeed. Let's start with firing some of the smaller towers along this road, and we're going to have a little bit of smaller height along this corridor here, and then we're going to build up, and sort of this epicenter of height will be around here. And we'll just radiate out height from there. So we're starting with the Australia Poly building, and yeah, it's a medium-sized building. I really like the way this looks. It's gonna look incredible along this corridor here with the big one behind. The Gherkin, as they call it. I believe this one is from London, England, and I just think it looks super spectacular. It's obviously a very unusual building, and so this there deserves a spot front and center on our waterfront. All right, we're going straight for the big boy, the Torre Manilva, which is, how tall is this? 328 meters. So you can do the math on feet. It's about 3.1 times that in feet. Almost, I guess, 1,000 feet, you could say. Really cool building. Where are we gonna put that? Let's see. Ah, what a gorgeous building. And I'm gonna try to do something really tricky and maintain the sight lines from this building to the waterfront. So I hope I got that right. I want to be able to sneak a path in here. Let's just make sure that I succeeded, and let's get that in, because a lot of moving pieces. As you can see, we've got a lot going on, and I'm just doing bit by bit. We're going piecemeal here. It's a lot of technical work, but I love it. And you can see we've got that problem where the path, when it's placed beside one of these skyscrapers, is becoming a bridge section. So no way for me to fix that without mods. So aside from moving the building, hey, we've got a ton of money, so I'm not worried about running out. But let's get the path in first and see how that goes. Yes, I'm a perfectionist. I hate these little crosses here, so we're gonna try and do it again. Ho ho ho, that's sweet. We've got a nice little path. We've got pedestrian connectivity. That is beautiful. And let's just, I'm eager that we don't push other buildings right next to these tall towers, because I just don't think that's realistic in real life. We want a little bit of space around them. So what I'm gonna do is get in some more paths around each of these buildings. And again, I've got my issue with this, so no problem. We'll just pay to the $36,000 peanuts, right, to move it again. That is cozy, looking good. All right, what are we gonna put in next? Really like this one as well. This is the 6 River Center, 286 meters tall. No idea where these come from, but yeah, man, someone's done a really great job on these. And you know what? We're maintaining that sight line to the bay. And you know, I'm actually second guessing this one. We're taking out these police and fire stations. We're gonna temp move the post office just out of the way here. And I kind of want to get this building up on the collector. So this little, what do you call this garbage service point, you can move. I do kind of want to have a path in there though. Let's see how I fit this in. And we saved 3 tiles of zoning. Great. And let's move this guy a little bit closer. I think it deserves to be on the main road. Sure, why not? There. Perfect, perfect. You know, there's one from the original base game, and I'm gonna try to find it. Yeah, actually not the base game, it's one of the, I think it's a CCP, the Art Deco. This is called Pinoa Street, and oh my gosh, it's absolutely amazing. So let's see where we can fit this guy. I think he might fit in here a little bit. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think if I'm lucky, I can actually get a fire station in here. I really like the way that these look too. This will serve us well in covering the whole downtown. This has 40 fire engines, which is really cool. And it just actually, it suits the density of this area, and it gives us a little bit of a breather between these towers. I wouldn't want this one to be butting up against this one. It would look a bit silly. You don't really see that in real life, and so I don't want to see that here. However, what I will do is tighten up this grid a little bit. I'm gonna shoot this down 1 and then move the road down as well. So I can get a series of paths around this, and we're freeing up a little bit more space for this area as well. Yeah, looking cool. The downtown is starting to take shape. Let's continue. That I think works nicely because now we've got this tower right in between the other two, and it's kind of far enough away from Pinoa Street. You've got maintaining sightlines to this building, not really blocking anything else, so that's cool. And I like the fact that these two are together. There's just a nice synergy going on there. Should we bump it over a bit? No, I think it's fine. We'll keep it as is. No, I can't help myself. We'll move it over just a bit to be a little bit more in the center of those two. Ah, perfect. Symmetry for the win. What else do we want to get in here? Tower 69, 224 meters. Now, this is a really interesting one because once I place it, let's say here, you'll see that it's actually the whole perimeter, or I guess you call that what the circumference of the building, doesn't go all the way down to the ground, so it's kind of standing on a stilt, which is really cool. And you know, unfortunately, we've got some anti-aliasing going on here. That's just, you know, my video card's not strong enough to handle it. But yeah, it's taking shape. This is looking great. I really like it. Before I place something else in here, I think this is probably the only place this Oriental Pearl Tower fits in our grid layout. And I think it's the perfect spot because, hey, we're on the waterfront. This is a building we want to see. Like, this is not something you want to bury in the back of your towers. This is absolutely stunning. I believe this is from Shanghai, China, and it really is an unusual, unique building. So we might have to do something a little bit special with that in the way of detailing. And while we're in this area, let's put in another tower on this corner. I think it would look really fitting there. Yeah, yeah, that might work there, but I don't think that's exactly what I had in mind for that spot. So we'll just temporarily move this guy out of the way. Marshalltown Center with the ChirpNet logo on the top here, facing the bay. That's pretty cool. It's not one of the more outstanding, spectacular buildings, but you know, it fills out a downtown. We'll give it that. Here's the High Node headquarters, a 207-meter building. Fits perfectly inside this grid here, so why not? You know, again, nothing too crazy. You know, obviously this is built in, you know, maybe the 60s, 70s. It's not a modern building, but it is kind of fitting for downtown, so we'll let it stay. 265 meters, MLM Center. This one has a little bit more visual interest, and I think we could probably justify putting that more central because it is taller, and yeah, I don't mind that at all. You know, it's very octagonal, maybe, if you want to call it that, very geometrical. Looking good, buddy. Let's come over next to the subway and the botanical gardens area for a minute and see what might fit in here. Banqiao Tower, 207 meters. That might look nice overlooking the park. It's a bit of a shorter tower, and so as we move north here, we do want the shorter towers. What can go next to that? Galestrum. Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. And the Galestrum, where can we fit that in? I think, sneak it right in here, and that might work perfectly. I'm gonna just move it a single space off that main road so we can get a pathway through here. Lucky us, we didn't have that bridging issue, so that is good. Yeah, that's a pretty nice fit, and I like the top of this tower. It's definitely got a visual appeal to it. While we're up here, what else can we fit in? You know, there is a really beautiful tower that came actually with one of the earlier, I don't know if this is an expansion or an OG building, but this seems like it would fit perfectly in here. I'm not gonna load it onto the main road. We'll put the entrance on the back. See how does that look? Ooh, yeah. Yeah, this is definitely one of the more masculine looking buildings. It's, you know, probably where a very evil arms corporation has its headquarters. No, I'm just kidding. But it definitely has a lot of interest, so we're keeping this on a main junction here. It's the convergence of 1, 2, 3 you know, major roads. So yeah, we'll leave it there. What else? Let's just scoot this over because we need to fill a hole there. And while we're doing this, let's bounce over to this side, and we're gonna adjust our lighting just a bit so I can actually see the faces of these buildings. There we go. Good enough. Thank you, Play It. That's a very handy mod. And by the way, you know, it's a vanilla build because I'm using vanilla assets, but I do have a few little additional quality of life apps that were, yeah, little tools to help me, little mods to help me adjust the graphical settings. And so what do we need to do here? We need to, of course, adjust this road, and I want to put a building that is exactly across the way from this one. And I do believe that building that is its sister loads from the side. So let's just peek at it and see what amount of space we need for that. So I guess what I can do, I don't need to pause it, we'll just keep it running. Delete that road, and we will come here and try to sort of eyeball that. Yeah, I don't mind the way that's turned out. Let's fix this pathway that I busted for whatever reason. Okay. Do not know why that would be giving me trouble now all of a sudden. So let's see if we can fudge it. Yep, okay, that's fixed up. And now if I did this properly, we should be able to get that building directly across from the train station. And I don't want to break the path again, so hey, that sneaks in pretty nice. And it's lined up, ooh, like a boss. All right, good. And now we've got, you know, this train station sandwich happening here. We'll run the game again. And we've got the other sandwich with these two buildings. And we're doing what I wanted to do, which is step down the height from this general area to the waterfront. And oh, I got big plans for this area. Oh, you're gonna love it, so stay tuned. That's probably another 2 episodes out, but I've got this this thing planned out pretty well. Okay, let's take a look at this area. What are we gonna do over here? So I believe this is the tallest. What is this called? It's the Island Park Tower, 68 floors from Japan, 203 meters. It's a residential building. Now in the game, I don't think it cares. I think this is still, yeah, I think this is a tourism building. So I don't think we're actually putting residents in here, but we can use our imaginations. And the beautiful thing about this is that there are 4 towers that are exactly the same theme. So we can actually put in a little complex here. How does that look? I think it looks pretty freaking amazing. Is my spacing good, or do I want to tighten this guy up a bit? No, I think it's okay. Now, one thing I do notice is that all of these have red faces, and this one has a blue face. So, oh, do I mess with it? Yes, I'm going to just delete it and put it down again, and hopefully it changes to the red color. Yeah, I think we got it. Okay. Is that right? Yeah, it looks good to me. So we have this, you know, I probably would have preferred that they're all blue, but you know, you can't have everything you want in life. Or I could just delete it all. No, we'll leave it. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll change it in the next episode. But yeah, this makes for a little node of a residential area, and we can do some detailing in here. Probably not today, but we'll get to it. And which other towers do we want? Let me consult my list. All right, well, those are the tallest towers in the game. I don't know how many did I put in here. Let's count quickly. If you count the transport tower over here, that's 22. And yeah, really like the way that this looks. Let's check it out from the other angle and see with better lighting. So unfortunately I had to uninstall Ultimate Level of Detail mod, which means that as I zoom out, things get a little bit blurry. So, but if you come up closer here, that's looking pretty sick. And hey, we've maintained our sight lines on basically all of these buildings. Nobody's view of the water is completely blocked. You're getting your views, which is important. And oh yeah, I'm really liking this. Let's see what's next. I'm actually gonna start putting in just a few more buildings in this direction. I think I might actually move this guy over slightly, but we want him to load onto the other road so that it's facing the proper way. I like that all the glass is facing onto the water. So that's a nice spot for that. What else can we get in here? Not sure if these are exactly going to stay here, but I do love the idea that they would be on the waterfront. We will have a few little more residential buildings going up here in the meantime, but I like these. We're stepping down in height, which is perfect as we move toward the right side of the map here. I wonder, is there room to put just one more tower in here, something a bit smaller? That kind of fills a hole, and it makes sense in our stepping down the height philosophy, so we'll allow it to stay. What else? You know, next thing we need to do is, this building is really special, and so let's do some detailing around it. We don't want to just leave it hanging here with, and this, frankly, these little triangle pieces are kind of unusable, so it makes sense maybe that we get a bit of a waterfront park in here. And in fact, let's do this right. Let's make it an actual park, and we'll call this Oriental Park, because I'm creative like that. Let's get in some proper pathways and amenities. While we're in here, we do need to start extending our subway network, and so it makes sense to put an entrance way in this park, because we don't want to take away from other potential height since it's going to be flat anyway. Let's get the line in. And we'll go ahead and drag that stop over so that it's functioning, and let's connect up the rest of these paths here. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. So let's get a moderate amount of trees in here and make it an actual park. That's looking pretty cool. I like that. It left just a little bit of open space for people to lounge in the sun, and yeah, a lot of diversity in the trees. So, you know, to me it looks oriental. I don't know. It's, you know, maybe these are cherry blossoms. I know this is an African tree, but hey, it looks a little bit appropriate to me. So, wonderful. What can we do next? I do want to get in some amenities, some services. Now we've got our fire in here, which nobody's in use, it's cool. But I also want to get in a little fire station, or police station. So, well, not a little one, actually a big one. So we'll come over here and we are going to find our high capacity police station. And it's 4x4, which is handy because it kind of fits in wherever. Do we have any appropriate 4x4 spots? I kind of want to keep it central. That seems like just as good a place as any. And as far as the functionality of the game goes, we'll need to get in some death care in here. And so let's put that in. We'll use our cryo preservatory because that's a high capacity building. It's also 4x4 conveniently, so maybe we'll get that in here. I don't love putting, you know, low buildings in a high capacity area. Yeah, I really don't. So anyway, that might move, doesn't matter. We're going to need also a hospital. Now, I love the high capacity hospital. We're definitely going to use that one because it fits into a downtown. Now, I'm not sure there's a space that really works. Let's see. I'm not terribly excited about putting it in downtown and taking up what could be density. And so I'm just gonna put it a little bit on the outskirts of our true downtown here. And we can move this later, but I just don't want people screaming for either, you know, healthcare or for land value. So we're putting it in. And what else are we missing? That is awesome. Now we're gonna start doing just a little bit of detailing. And I mentioned earlier that I want pathways around some of these towers. I just want a buffer between those towers and whatever else I might put in. So, you know, in cases like this here, let's see if we can turn on the grid and get something in. And we're getting that funny little raised section as well. So I'm just gonna move this, waste 30 grand. That fits very nicely, and we get a little bit of a buffer between whatever else is going to go in there. Yeah, just a few more little pathways in here, and we'll be good to go. It's funny how some towers don't cause that raised section and some do. You know, it's a feature, not a bug. Just moving towers to get in pathways. No big deal, 30,000 a pop. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're bouncing up to 80 grand a week, so I'm not concerned. We have spent about half of our budget, I think it was, since the beginning of this episode, so I probably should be careful, but I'm not gonna worry too much because we're almost done with putting towers in for today. I don't think there's probably many more that will go in, but anyway, we'll just be mindful a little bit of the budget. Just an extra road in there to give us a bit more zonable land here. Do we need any more pathways? By the way, you'll notice that on these major roads here, when you have a bus stop, it kills the trees or it knocks them out. If there's any way around that you found without using mods, of course, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what's doable there. And let's see what we can do with this tower segment here as well. What are we putting in here? All right, I think we've put in all the paths that we're gonna want. So, well, maybe one more. But next step is I want to start zoning in some commercial. No, not commercial. Offices. So, let's go to our zones. These are not all the towers that are going in here. So we're gonna use a mix and match of methods to get in towers. And what I want to do is go into our commercial specializations. And I want the IT cluster. No, it's office. IT cluster. We're going to hit this area with that, I guess you call it policy or specialization. And now we'll be able to zone the tallest office building towers, the tallest IT cluster buildings. What else do I want to do? I want to go into this Stavanger zone here, the district, and I want to change this. I don't want modern city center. I thought about making super blocks that would look pretty cool, but they're not going to fit so well inside of the existing grid with all these towers. It's going to break up the modern city center a little too much. So we're going to turn that off, and then we'll come in here and look for the commercial specializations and hit it with the commercial wall-to-wall buildings. I don't think there's anything that will be zoned because there's nothing zoned yet, but that should give us a lot of buildings that look like these, right? So we last episode we put in these. I think they look like really very ritzy shopping center type buildings, and so we're gonna get a good mix of these around the downtown as well as the IT cluster towers. So I'm gonna go through now and just in a very targeted way zone some office. And one other thing I want to do, because we have zero demand for industry, and of course you know that the offices are considered industry, what we need to do is give them a reason to come in here. So we're going to go policies for this area, taxation, and we're going to do tax relief for offices. That's going to drop the tax rate by 2%, which I hope will spike the demand just a little bit in this area for offices. And we'll start zoning. We'll see what pops up. If nothing, we might need to go back and think about dezoning some office buildings in other areas. The reason we have zero industry demand, and we haven't for like 14 episodes, is because I went crazy with industry areas in previous episodes. So there's so many jobs in industry right now. Our region's at like 4% unemployment, which is super low, which is great, but it also means we have zero demand for offices, which I want to fix because I need these offices in here for the visual appeal. Let's just target some zoning here. And actually, one thing I want to do is put a fence back here. Find my fences, and we'll use the regular park fence. And I just want to turn all of these snap twos off, and we'll go right tight to the back here in a straight line. And we'll cut this off at the side as well. Now we're getting the zoning only on this, what do you call this, a collector? Oh, it looks like I missed some trees here. Let's fix those. And actually, I guess I remember I didn't miss them, but I actually, I rebuilt this road. And look, we do have a little bit of demand. And hey, it just so happens, I think it's gonna be my favorite building, Smart Reads Inc. We're gonna make this historical, so I don't delete it. And I just love this. For a downtown, you can't get better than this. I kind of wish it was turned a little bit, but that doesn't matter. It now looks fine. So a couple of these buildings downtown and some of the other office type buildings are gonna look pretty sick. So we'll get a few more zones of that in here. And I'm doing 4x4 so we get the biggest ones. And unfortunately the zoning is not exact. I wish I could have got that exact to here, but what are you gonna do? I could get a 3x4. And we maintain some symmetry here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's do this. Yeah, we'll see how that looks. I wonder how it will look if we intersperse that with a little bit of commercial, those wall-to-walls. And we'll do the same over here and here. And we'll see how this is going to shape up. Now, again, we have very low demand, so it's going to take some time. I'm just going to go through and zone as many towers as I can. Here we go. And just for the record, I'm not zoning anything on this side of the road here today. That's another episode, probably maybe a couple, three or four out. And interestingly enough, our demand is solid and we're getting those towers to fill in. So yeah, okay, looking good. I like that tower. We'll see what comes up here. It looks like this one now is a high tech, and so yeah, it doesn't not belong there. Do we have zoning on this? You know, no, we'll leave that for the waterfront episode. Yeah, I mean, things are filling in, right? And I think it's gonna look really wonderful when we have all these skyscraper pack buildings that are in here, interspersed with these sort of maybe older, smaller ones. And okay, let me just finish that off and we'll see how it goes. So you can see I've taken a deliberate checkerboard pattern to these towers just so they're not squished up against each other. And then I'm gonna go again very deliberately and try to squeeze in a little bit more of the high density commercial, which is our wall to wall. Let's see, how does this look with our towers? Not great. I don't love that, so we might reconsider it. But for now, I think we're just gonna get some of the demand met. We don't have a strong demand, but this whole downtown is going to be commercial and offices, so I'm gonna put that stuff in now. My hunch was correct. If I rebuilt that road, I was hoping I could get the zoning back, and we got it. So beautiful. We'll get a few more buildings in here. Again, very deliberate, very much wanting to fill in these spaces, but in a deliberate way that's not gonna look crappy. So we'll see. I'm crossing my fingers here, and I'm letting the game run, and we'll see if we can fit in as many of these commercial buildings as possible. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna pause it. I totally forgot to do something, and that is put in a little bit more park/plaza areas. I can't believe I forgot that. So let's go over to the parks and let's see. I wish I could fit in one of these, which is a small park. Oh, that's almost perfect there. Where else could we put it? How about here? Oh, that's even better. So yeah, well, it's on the collector though. It's not great. Any other prime candidates here? That could work. Let's get a look at our park areas. So we only have that one botanical gardens. We have a couple plazas up here. I don't want anyone to have to walk more than a couple blocks, 2 blocks max, to get to some kind of park amenity. And so I think we might put this. That's just meant to be, man. That's just meant to be. Okay, we'll get it in. And let's switch over to the plazas here. I love the mid-century modern because not the mid-century, the pedestrian area plazas, because they just work, right? So, I wonder if I can get out of this view here and just find. Actually, I might keep that view on just to show me where the existing parks and plazas are. So I want to get one in this area here. So we'll put in what do you call this? A small fountain plaza. And we'll alternate between that and the flower plaza because they're both 4x4s, which is really handy. I don't love going right on the main road, so we'll come off just a bit. And we'll make an exception here because that just looks cool. That's nice. Actually, having the crossroads there with a little plaza, that's fantastic. Keep going. That looks pretty amazing right in front of this building. That makes a lot of sense to me. So trying to be deliberate without getting too crazy with this. And I'm sorry, but I just gotta sneak this crab preservatory off the main road. That doesn't make any sense. It can be central, but that's better. All right, I'm comfortable with the amount of parks and plazas there. How does this look? Yeah, it's pretty optimal for, you know, being a place where the workers of all these buildings can go and have their lunch or whatnot. I do wish we could change the trees in these parks without using a mod, but such is life. Now, I haven't placed any too close to this road because I know that we're gonna have a whole load of parks on this side, which is going to be satisfying any demand for outdoor space. Again, we don't want this to be a concrete jungle. We want this to be a place where people actually live, not just work, but live, and where they can go and have fun. We'll see what zones in here. These little 1x1s, I'm not sure we want to have too many of these weird tall buildings, but you know, it's supply and demand. I'm sure that the land values in this area would be pretty insane. So we're gonna try to put in as many little spots of commercial as we can, except spaces like this. I mean, that's just, no, that's, no. I find it kind of odd that this building comes with a bit of grass built in. I'm not sure what to think about that. It's kind of weird, but let's try to do something fun. Yeah, okay. All right, so I think now we pretty much have hit all the zoning that I want to. I definitely don't want to zone, you know, in little areas like this. I wish we had little 2x2 plazas or even 3x3s for some of those other spaces. But I think let's run it. And I want to run it at speed so that we're getting a little bit more of these zones filling in. Now what to do with a space like this, I really don't know. I mean, would you see some buildings in here? This is a doorway, so I'm thinking no. Let's see, what can we do here? I don't love how that turned out. Let's see, is it possible to even create something that looks good here? Yeah, it kind of looks unfinished. I don't love that. Maybe leave it. We'll leave it with that. It's kind of matches the base of this building anyway, and we'll just get in a few little trees. And I think, you know what, we're gonna do a little bit of detailing here anyway. Would we put a couple buildings here? I think we might. Let's see if we can actually get in some zoning instead of trees. And we'll see how that looks. We'll probably never look at it again, but hey, we're doing our best here. So I'm just looking for a way to turn on zoning while I'm still selected on trees. I guess I can't. So, you know, I might have to just wait for some of this to fill in before I start placing trees down. But you know, obviously we know that spaces like this are not going to have any zoning, so we can get some trees in here. Yeah, don't love that, so we'll not block the facade here. We'll not block the doors, and we'll de-zone these little 2x2s. That is better. That is better. It's the little things that count, isn't it? And okay, so we are filling in nicely. I really am impressed by how we did with the zoning of the commercial towers. Now those might be a bit close, but hey, is it unrealistic? No, I think that would probably happen in real life. Is it making me happy? No, not terribly, but that's okay. Oh, this couldn't have worked out better. This is nicely framed around the, what do you call this? Observation tower, very original, guys. And we've got our two towers. In the middle, we have sunlight to food enterprises. So it's not blocking the view too terribly with the height. Oh my gosh, this is really turning out. So how do we do? Let's take a little scoot through our city here. And I don't actually mind how the wall-to-wall commercial fits in with the IT cluster buildings. Not bad at all. Let's go right down to our botanical garden here and see how it looks from sort of street level. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. And you come out of the subway and you see this. Oh baby, that is a city, right? And I wish we had lighting that lit up every side of the buildings. I don't know. Is there a LUT that does that? Can someone tell me, please? Yeah, it's looking really good. And I think this needs a little bit of detailing here as well. I love these live oaks, but they're just too massive for a downtown. Are they? Maybe we can put one in the corner here. Tucked out of the way, and then a little guy on the side. Another one here. Cool. And what else? What else do we want to get in here? A couple of these pine trees. I just don't want to overdo it. We'll put one. Okay, yeah, a little detailing outside the subway again. And okay, that's what it looks like. You get off the subway and you see this beautiful space. I really like it. It's coming together. What's next? Well, I am impressed. We've done not a bad start to our downtown. It's by no means finished. We have all of this area on this side to fill in with many more towers. We have this strip here to fill with towers and zoning. That's gonna probably all happen in one episode. Then I think next episode we're gonna, I don't think, for sure next episode we're working on the waterfront here. We're gonna move this land out a bit, reclaim some land, and get in some of the interesting assets that we have. Do a little bit of residential zoning for people who want to live on the waterfront. Just like in my old hometown, Toronto, where it's all really glass condos on the waterfront. And I don't know, we'll even see about using this island. I don't know for what just yet, but it's coming. And we're gonna put in maybe a bit of a node of tourism over here. We'll probably juggle these buildings around a little bit. One last thing I'm gonna do before we call this episode is, first of all, check our power and water. Our electricity's fine. Our water is fine, just hanging on there actually, so we might have to tackle that in a future episode. But I want to look at our public transit, so let's look at our lines here. We've added a lot of new tourist destinations in this area, and I want to see how our lines are doing. So let's look at our bus. I doubt the bus line's doing much. This is not exactly helpful. Stavanger to Trondheim, that's our bus that takes us to the nature reserve. I have no idea why it's bouncing up and around. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me why it wouldn't just cut through. I'm kind of stuck there. Why would it be going up? Oh, is this one way? No, two ways. Okay, very strange. Let's fix that. Oh, I see. There's a stop here for some darn reason. We're just going to take it out. All that line does is ping from the bus station back to Trondheim National Park over here. It might do more later, but for now, no. If we look at our other bus lines, downtown, is it called? Downtown Loop. And we see that we've got a lot of people waiting here. And waiting there, and really it's just the one stop for some reason. They're stopped at Tropicana, and they're going from the island of Tropicana up to I don't know where. Probably they're hitting something up here. Does the line look okay? Looks fine. I might actually pull do I want to do that? Pull this in front of the subway. And then put a stop here. Yeah, that makes sense. For sure that makes sense. We'll take advantage of our bus lanes. Subways. Oh, let's go trams first. We have our downtown loop going one way. It's really not being utilized, and that's okay because we've just basically put on our zoning. So we'll leave it at 100%. We'll go back here and look at the B loop. And again, not terribly utilized, but it will be growing. I wonder if I need more stops. No, it's not exactly taking people anywhere yet, but that will be, I believe, very, very utilized once we start fleshing out a bit more of the city. Let's go and take a look at this other line, Arc Park line, A and B. 111, that's not bad. Are there any backups? This is really all I'm concerned about right now. I'm not going to be lowering the number of capacity. I just want to make sure that we're not under serving anywhere. So we're getting some utilization. It's at about maybe a quarter of capacity right now, which is not bad because it was absolutely zero at the beginning of this episode. Let's take a look at our subway line, the Tropicana, which is the north-south line. 355, that's exceptional, I like that. Are we backing up anywhere? Yeah, so this, let's see if this clears. Where are we here? Okay, this is the transfer station, makes total sense. And we just cleared that, so that's fine. It's doing its job. It's taking people from the east-west line right downtown. That's all it does. And there's also this train line that goes from that direction, express down here. There's no stops. It's just a direct one-to-one. What else? We want to look at our other subway line, the Stavanger West. So this, I'm guessing it's going to be busy. It's not too bad actually. There's a really nice amount of utilization here. This is in the Volina Estates, our high-tech area, taking people from this residential area downtown to the central station. This is the next stop, and then we just added that other stop over here, which we'll extend the next episode. No issues with utilization, however. One last thing we'll do is check on our train utilization. We're looking for the green line, Stavanger Nordved. This is our least utilized line. I'm not sure why. No people waiting. This takes us all the way up to the north of the map, basically. And there's a half full train here. There's a mostly full train there. Where is that going? Where are you? Oh, you're delivering people downtown, so that's a good sign. There are people moving into this area. There are things happening. I notice I haven't connected this ferry line yet. That's obviously reducing the utilization of this ferry and bus exchange stop. That's fine. We're gonna rethink our waterfront entirely in the next episode. We're gonna flesh this out. And I don't know, what do you think? Tell me in the comments. Did I nail it, or is there work to do? Is there something I missed? Are there things that I should be considering that I haven't seen? I think there's a nice mix. We've utilized the Skyscrapers CCP. We've utilized some of the older Skyscrapers. We've mixed in the IT cluster towers, which look fantastic in my opinion. And we've mixed in the wall-to-wall commercial. So, I'm not sure it's my favorite type of commercial, but I've played with all of them, and you certainly can't use the vanilla ones. They're just too ugly. Sorry, that's my uncalled for opinion, but I like them, so we're going with it. For now, it's a good mix. We'll see how it turns out, but so far, you remember the beginning of this episode, this is a complete transformation. I'm wondering what it's done to our budget, but I'm not complaining because I see 70,000, 73,000 in the green, so we're looking good. So tell me what you think. Leave me a comment down below, and if you want to get more of this content, be reminded that there's something new, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell. It also helps more people see the channel. My last video was the most popular one that I had by far, and it's a good sign. Things are moving in the right direction. People seem to be liking this content, but I want to take your lead. So tell me, what do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? And what should I do next episode? Looking forward to it. I'm off to Mexico for a week, so this probably won't be posted anytime soon. You'll be seeing it when you see it, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.